right, let's just imagine this for a second. Howie Roseman, the mad scientist of NFL trades, picks up the phone, dials Cleveland, and says, "Hey, what's it going to take for Myles Garrett?" I mean, that would send shockwaves through the entire league. You know how Howie is. When he smells an opportunity, he's not afraid to get aggressive. He's the kind of general manager who treats the NFL like a chessboard, always thinking 3 moves ahead, always trying to land the next big piece that's going to push the Eagles over the top. And when you talk about Myles Garrett, we're not just talking about a good player. We're talking about one of one. The guy's a physical freak, the kind of player who looks like he was carved out of stone. 6'4", 270-something pounds, lightning quick off the edge, and a motor that doesn't quit. You line him up on that Eagles defensive front next to Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, Haason Reddick, well before he left, and suddenly you're looking at a defensive line that might make opposing quarterbacks want to call in sick on game day. Now, during the offseason, rumors started flying that Philly had poked around, seeing if Garrett might be available. Of course, the Browns said they weren't moving him, but when have we ever seen a front office turn down 3 first-rounders if the offer actually hits the table? And that's the number that's floating around right now. 3 first-round picks. Yeah, it sounds insane, but think about it for a second. If you're the Eagles, those picks are likely in the late 20s or even early 30s every year. Those aren't premium slots. You're not landing a guaranteed superstar there. So if you could flip those picks for one of the most dominant defensive players in football, a guy still in his prime, you at least have to think about it. Because if Howie Roseman has shown us anything, it's that he's not afraid to swing big. He's traded for A.J. Brown. He's landed guys like Darius Slay, Haason Reddick, Kevin Byard. When there's a window to compete for a Super Bowl, he's going all in. That's just his DNA as a general manager. And right now, with this Eagles roster built to win, adding a game wrecker like Garrett could take them from dangerous to downright terrifying. Remember, Howie's team-building philosophy has always been crystal clear. Win in the trenches. Protect your quarterback and get after theirs. That's the formula. That's been the Eagles' identity since the Andy Reid and Joe Banner days back in the early 2000s, when Howie was just an intern learning the ropes. Those lessons stuck. You build from the inside out. And when you already have Jalen Hurts locked in, when your offensive line has been one of the best in the league for years, the next priority is simple. Stack the defensive line with killers. Now, imagine what Vic Fangio could do with a talent like Myles Garrett. The Eagles' new defensive coordinator loves disguising pressure, mixing up fronts, and blitzing when necessary. But he's also the kind of coach who prefers to let his front four do the dirty work. The problem this year is that he's had to blitz more often than usual because that consistent pressure hasn't always been there. Add Garrett to that mix, and Fangio could sit back, rush for, and let his secondary feast. Quarterbacks wouldn't even have time to blink. And let's not forget what happens to a defense when you have that kind of generational player up front. It changes everything. The corners get better because they don't have to cover as long. The linebackers look faster because the play collapses before it develops. It's the ripple effect that separates good defenses from elite ones. And Philadelphia knows that better than anyone. Their Super Bowl run was built on that exact principle. Dominate the line of scrimmage, collapse the pocket, and make life miserable for whoever's under center. But here's the flip side. To get a player like Myles Garrett, you're not just paying in draft picks. You're also taking on a massive contract. Garrett's deal with Cleveland is a 4-year, $160 million extension, making him one of the highest-paid defenders in the game. That's a heavy price tag, even for a contender. But the question becomes, is it worth it? Because if the Eagles truly believe that Garrett is the missing piece to another Lombardi trophy, you pull that trigger and don't look back. Now, the Browns situation is interesting. They've been clinging to the idea that they're contenders, but the reality is that roster's a mess. The Deshaun Watson experiment has been a complete disaster, and the dead cap hits they're dealing with are brutal. Garrett, for all his greatness, might be reaching a point where frustration is boiling over. Remember, this is a guy who demanded a trade not that long ago. He wanted out, wanted to play meaningful football, and you can't really blame him. He's putting his body on the line every week, dominating games, but for what? To finish another losing season with a team that can't get out of its own way? When you're that competitive, that passionate about the game, losing eats at you. You could see it the other week when he lost it on the sideline, threw his helmet, and looked completely done with the whole situation. It's the kind of frustration that builds up when you know you're giving everything and the organization around you just can't match your energy. And that's what makes the idea of joining a team like the Eagles so tempting. In Philly, football means something. The energy in that locker room, the intensity of the fan base, it's unmatched. Every player who comes here says the same thing. This city lives and breathes the game. And when you step onto the field in midnight green, you feel it. You're not just playing football. You're part of something bigger. That's why if the opportunity ever presented itself, it wouldn't be shocking to see Howie Roseman go all in. He knows the clock is ticking on this championship window. He knows that every year in the NFL is fragile, that injuries happen, that rosters change fast. If you got a chance to make a move that could tilt the entire balance of power in your favor, you do it. And Garrett isn't just another name. He's a tone setter, a guy who can wreck a game by himself. When you've got that kind of player, it makes everyone else's job easier. It changes how offenses prepare for you. It makes coordinators lose sleep. And in a division as brutal as the NFC East, we're going up against Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and whatever Washington decides to throw out there, that extra edge matters. Of course, some people might say 3 first-round picks is too much. But let's be honest, the draft is always a gamble. For every superstar you land, there are 2 or 3 guys who don't pan out. Meanwhile, Myles Garrett is a known quantity. You know exactly what you're getting: production, consistency, and leadership. He's already racked up double-digit sacks in 8 straight seasons, made multiple All-Pro teams, and he's still not even 30. Players like that don't come around often. So if you're sitting in Howie Roseman's chair and you've got the cap flexibility, the draft capital, and a roster built to win now, how do you not at least explore it? Because here's the truth. You don't get rings by playing it safe. You get them by taking calculated risks, by seeing what others don't, and by believing that one move can change everything. Now, let's dig a little deeper into why this whole Myles Garrett situation has the league buzzing and Eagles fans completely losing their minds. The man is not just a pass rusher. He's a walking highlight reel. When he steps on the field, offensive linemen start sweating before the first snap. You can't single block him, you can't run at him, and when you think you've finally neutralized him, he just switches up his moveset and blows right past your tackle like he's standing still. He's got that rare combination of strength, speed, and technique that makes him almost impossible to stop. The thing is, the Browns have been insisting for months that they're not moving him. But how many times have we heard that before? Front offices always say they're not trading their stars, right up until the moment they do. And you can't help but wonder how long they can hold on to a player who clearly wants to win now. Garrett's frustration has been obvious. Every year, he's out there producing at an elite level, putting up Defensive Player of the Year numbers, while the team around him continues to underachieve. There's only so long a competitor like him can tolerate that before he starts thinking, I could be winning somewhere else. And the Browns, to be fair, are in a rough spot financially. That Deshaun Watson deal wrecked their salary cap. They're still eating money from previous mistakes, and now they're looking at another rebuild. Trading Garrett would hurt, sure, but 3 first-round picks could completely reshape their future. You could use that haul to rebuild both sides of the ball, maybe even find your next franchise quarterback. It's the kind of move that signals you're starting over. Painful, yes, but sometimes necessary. From the Eagles' perspective, though, this is exactly the kind of opportunity Howie Roseman lives for. The man has built his reputation on being aggressive when others hesitate. He doesn't just rebuild, he reloads. You lose a star, he finds another. You see a window to get better, he doesn't think twice. That's how he turned this team into a perennial contender. The A.J. Brown trade is the perfect example. Everyone thought Tennessee would never move him. Yet Howie made the call, got the deal done, and now Brown is one of the best receivers in football wearing midnight green. The same could happen here. If Myles Garrett does somehow become available, Roseman is going to at least pick up the phone. He's too smart not to. He knows that adding Garrett wouldn't just be about improving the pass rush. It would be about sending a message to the entire league. It would say, We're not satisfied with being good. We want to be great. Because the truth is, in today's NFL, defenses win championships when they can consistently pressure the quarterback without blitzing. That's exactly what Garrett brings to the table. Picture this. It's the NFC Championship game. The Eagles are lining up against the 49ers or maybe the Lions, both high-powered offenses with quarterbacks who thrive when they have time to throw. You've got Jalen Carter collapsing the middle, Hassan Reddick on one side, and Myles Garrett on the other. Good luck trying to stop that. The offensive line doesn't stand a chance. Suddenly, the game plan changes. The quarterback starts rushing his reads, the receivers can't get open, and the defense takes control. That's how you win in January. That's how you get back to the Super Bowl. Now, as great as this all sounds, there's still the financial reality. The Eagles have a lot of money tied up in key players. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Lane Johnson, Darius Slay. Those guys don't come cheap. Bringing in Garrett would mean another massive contract on the books. But if there's one general manager in the league who knows how to manipulate the cap, it's Howie Roseman. He's turned the cap into an art form. Every time people say, the Eagles can't afford that, he finds a way. Restructures here, bonuses there, and suddenly the money works. It's almost like he's playing a different sport when it comes to contracts. So, if Garrett truly wants out and Cleveland finally decides to listen, don't be surprised if Philly is right there at the front of the line. And honestly, Myles Garrett in an Eagles uniform just feels right. He's got that intensity, that edge, that fire. He's built for a city like Philadelphia. Fans here love guys who play angry, who give everything on every snap, who treat every down like it could be their last. Garrett embodies that energy. He's the kind of player who'd instantly become a fan favorite, not just because of his talent, but because of the way he carries himself. But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Is it worth it to give up 3 first-round picks for one player, even if that player is as good as Garrett? It's a valid question. Those picks could turn into multiple starters who give you cheap, controllable production for years. And let's not forget, football is a team sport. You need depth. You need young players who can step in when injuries happen. The Eagles have built their success on drafting well and developing talent. Trading that away could hurt you down the road. Still, you can't ignore the immediate impact Garrett would bring. You'd be getting a top 3 defensive player in the league, someone who changes the entire dynamic of your defense. And in a league where windows close fast, maybe it's worth the gamble. Because the Eagles aren't in a rebuilding phase, they're in a championship window. And windows like that don't last forever. So, it's not hard to see why this rumor has people so intrigued. On one side, you have the Browns, a team stuck in mediocrity with a star who wants more. On the other, you have the Eagles, a powerhouse just one piece away from total dominance. It's a match that makes too much sense to ignore. Whether it actually happens or not, the idea of it is enough to get fans dreaming. Because deep down, everyone in Philadelphia knows when Howie Roseman starts making calls, something big is coming. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are starting to ripple across the NFL landscape, and they all point to one name, MEKHI BECTON. The towering offensive lineman, once sidelined and a question mark in the eyes of many analysts, is reportedly making a return to the field, this time under the green and white banner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Sources close to team operations suggest that the Eagles have quietly maneuvered behind the scenes, orchestrating a move that could shake up the league and turn heads in the process. BECTON, known for his imposing size and raw athleticism, hasn't always had the smoothest ride in the NFL. Injuries have plagued him, leading some to question whether he could ever regain the dominant form he displayed during his early seasons. Yet, if the buzz is accurate, Philadelphia sees in him not just a player, but a potential cornerstone for their offensive line. The Eagles have long been rumored to be searching for that missing piece, a human wall capable of protecting their quarterback and creating space for a dynamic run game. Could BECTON be it? The rumor mill seems to think so. Insiders hint that discussions have been intense but discreet, with both BECTON's camp and the Eagles operating in the shadows to avoid drawing too much attention before a formal announcement. While no official confirmation has been made, the sheer volume of chatter among league insiders suggests that something significant is brewing. Fans on social media are already speculating wildly, imagining a revamped Eagles line with BECTON anchoring the left tackle spot, and the possibilities seem tantalizing. Analysts debate whether the risk of his past injuries outweighs the potential reward of his elite size and athleticism. Philadelphia, a team often willing to make bold moves, appears ready to take that gamble. The idea of BECTON donning Eagles green is enough to stir excitement in the locker room and among fans, who are hungry for headlines and hopeful that the team can ascend to the next level. As NFL observers watch closely, the overarching question remains: can BECTON return to form and justify the hype, or is this another what-could-have-been scenario? Only time will tell, but for now, the rumor alone is enough to make the Eagles camp the talk of the league. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.